Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
All right. Hey, yo, MYB community. It's your host, Champ Ron. This is the Minding Your Business podcast, entrepreneurship, real estate, trending news. There's no business like minding your own. Coming to you here on January the 18th, my last official day in my 30s decade as I cross over to age 40 on tomorrow. Yay! Subscribe to the podcast, 5-star, wherever you get your pods. That helps us continue to grow the MYB community. And as always, you can catch me at champronbrooks.com. That's champronbrooks.com. Make sure to text me, 312-847-4071. I'd like to get you a copy of my ebook, and you can actually order a copy of my new book here, Investing in Real Estate with Little or No Money Down. Quick guide here, covers a lot of the steps that many of my banker buddies use, including myself, to get involved in real estate, particularly when you don't have a huge budget starting out. And so reach out to me, 312-847-4071. I'd like to get you either a free copy of the ebook, or you can actually order the paperback here for just $10.99. So make sure you do that and connect with me there. Celebrating the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday on today, the day of this recording. So many of you that are in states that celebrate the holiday, you're likely enjoying a good day off. So hope that is the case and you find yourself in good mind and good spirit. Listen, I am excited. I'm really excited about today's guest today. Stacy Bahrenfuss is joining us. She is the founder of the Catalyst Group and the creator of the Inside Out Success Method that we look to hear from today. I think this is really going to help you, MYB. So make sure you got your notes and everything together so that you can take notes and then go execute on what you hear today. But Stacy, thank you so much for joining me all the way from Idaho, nonetheless, a state that I haven't, we were talking off and I haven't had a chance to visit yet, but it sounds really fun the way you describe it. So I look forward to getting out there. But Stacy, thank you so much for being a guest today on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Ron, and happy birthday eve to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
you. Of course.
I don't quite feel it yet. So, Stacy, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and maybe I'll actually feel 40.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes.
So, Stacy, let's get started so we can learn about you. Obviously, reading your bio, you've been, just mega successful, throughout your walk. But let's take it back a little bit and kind of talk about your journey to get to where you are today.
Yeah. So, it's interesting looking back on the early days. One of the things that is consistent in everything that I've done is just wanting to, go through things to be able to, one, show other people that it's not that challenging, or, maybe it is challenging and don't go over there. But also to simplify, success or whatever, the path is that I'm going down. And so, I actually was a senior in high school and was joking around with some friends and applied to be a salesperson at a local real estate resort office. And, it was funny. They actually ended up hiring me as one of the administrative staff. Yeah. And I quickly saw this opportunity in the real estate market to just do it better, elevate the customer experience. And, I had plans to go to college and, study international business and play volleyball and, all of these plans. And I got into real estate business and just fell in love with the fact that there isn't a ceiling. There aren't limitations to what I can create, and you can also impact people at such a high level.
Right. Right.
And so, started that journey, ended up then getting licensed, at 19 and starting my company, and started growing the actual team then a few years later, about 5 years later. And, we primarily today work with builders, developers, and of course, helping existing residential buyers and sellers and investors here in Idaho. So, the team is great, and really, right now, Catalyst Group exists to help them now fulfill what they thought they couldn't do, right, and help
Yeah.
the team members fulfill their dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Stacy, what was kind of in those early days as you were starting the business? Did you run into, many obstacles? Was it pretty smooth sailing as as a woman building a real estate business? I always like to ask because, in a lot of areas it could be still very male dominated,
Yeah.
right? And so, talk about those early days and kind of bringing in agents in those early days. And you probably found yourself managing a lot, as well as trying to do actual deals. So, how was that? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was interesting. I met a lot of resistance, especially in the early years, because I was young and a woman and new to the area, and I didn't have, backing or a contact database or, anything like that.
Sure.
And what I really decided to do was use that as fuel. And so as people, would say, oh, you can't do this, you need my help or whatever the case, that actually was just more of me going, watch me, and
Right.
using
Yeah, exactly.
as fuel. And so, in the early days, I really mastered by repetition and practice. I mean, I remember going and driving subdivisions and studying market data prior to even meeting clients, because I wanted to make sure I could be the expert, even though I was new, or more of a novice than my competitors were.
Mhm.
And so by doing that, over and over and over again, I really mastered being a producer,
Yeah.
but I hadn't really learned, the management leadership, the leadership aspect as it relates to stepping out of the producer role and into more of that,
Yeah.
management leadership role. And so, that was, I'd say, like my biggest challenge, because I wanted everyone to go my speed or read my mind, all those
Right.
things. So it was, definitely the most challenging sort of, I'll call it like transition, into like still producing but leading people. But it has been the most rewarding, because it's being able, to see your blind spots, see,
Yeah.
where you can grow. It ends up being the most rewarding, even though it can be really challenging sometimes, figuring out where you're lacking as a leader, or, where those blind spots are.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have a mentor, either now or kind of during that process that kind of helped you, or did you kind of just learn that process of transitioning from producer to manager, like you spoke about, Stacy? Was there a mentor involved, or was it just kind of you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Early on, when I started, I would say there were mentors, but they were more supporting that producer role, even though I like
Yeah.
consciously knew that I was moving in that direction. But
Right.
in the last couple of years, I think the biggest piece has been one of my mentors, Kelly Roach. She
Yeah.
has
Very familiar.
yeah, she has a program called Legacy Leaders.
Yes.
And it's been really helpful, just, wrapping my head around all of that and really growing into that leadership piece.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And so, talk a little bit about the Idaho market, because I'm just completely unfamiliar. And for those that maybe are like me and just are completely unaware, is there a good bit of like distressed properties you're working with for investors, or more like multifamily, or are you doing a lot of retail type businesses with consumers where you're kind of putting things on MLS and selling that way? What's kind of your mix there in terms of services?
Yeah, it's mostly new construction. We
Okay.
have a serious inventory issue. Like
Mm.
everyone pretty much has an inventory issue, but ours is really serious, because we have so much new construction, but they were having issues getting materials, and then pricing going up with
Yeah.
the pandemic and everything. And then on the other side, we we're not having the existing residential inventory. And so
Yeah.
that it's an interesting situation right now. Additionally, with the prices increasing as much as they have in the last couple of years, people are very much like, well, I want to sell, I want to capitalize on, the equity that I have gained in my home, but I couldn't even go and buy my house for, what I owe.
Right.
I've lived here for 10 years. The prices have changed so dramatically. So there's all of these almost like checkmates in a way between, new construction existing and then just people, wanting to take the plunge. But it's a great market though. There's, still a lot of land and we're expanding. And, I think the last number I heard was 200 to 250 people a day moving to our area.
Wow.
So it's, very, very much on the growth spurt.
Is that growth, Stacy, being spurred by like California? So Californians, getting away from really high priced, kind of stuff and coming into Idaho. Because I know when I was in Washington State, it didn't get a lot of it up there, but I know Oregon was picking up a lot of, kind of like Southern Oregon was starting to pick up this population of people transitioning from California. So it is kind of like some California stuff driving the growth.
Yes. And out of state, it's funny, there's been a lot from Georgia and Florida, as well, which is
Wow, that's interesting.
so far away.
Yeah.
Mostly, California, Washington, Oregon.
Yeah. I wonder what would drive people from Georgia and Florida. Is that just, Florida's pretty good tax situation. I wonder what's driving that. I guess, I couldn't speculate, but what do you think's driving the Georgia and Florida migration?
Most of the relocations have been job transfers. So that's the biggest one I've seen driving that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, so do you work in any other states other than Idaho or just Idaho?
Just Idaho.
Just Idaho. Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
So, as people join your team, are you more attracting like new licensees, to your team, or do you kind of go for existing, agents that maybe have a book of business or have this track record of doing, a lot of business? Are those more of who you attract, kind of to your group, or maybe a mixture of the two?
Yeah, it's definitely been a mixture of the two. On the new agent side, we really want to go for that culture fit. Across the board, culture fit. But what we've developed is a really slick process of bringing agents in, whether they're new or seasoned, and sitting them down and creating a sustainable business plan. That's a whole life business plan, essentially.
Sure.
And just the tracking and daily accountability, and all of that, along with a focus on, succeeded in their personal life as well. And everyone knowing, what their goals are, vice versa, throughout the team. So definitely, new agent side being that culture fit. And then on the existing, book of business type of agent, same thing there, but also just making sure that, there's something that we can truly help them with. We don't necessarily want to bring agents in because it's like, we're growing this team just to bring them in. It's more of there's a nice collaboration that can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like, Stacy, you're bringing in this family feel. You want this family kind of culture where, you're not just coming in just solely purely to do, deals and transactions, but like you say, it's got to be this culture fit, or you're solving problems for sellers and buyers. Stick a pin there because I want to come back to that.
Yeah.
That notion of what you mentioned earlier, which was kind of that how you help them, bridge this whole lifestyle around the business. I want to get into that, Stacy, but question for you around kind of real estate business. Do you do much wholesaling and kind of investing that way? Does that kind of, business, operate and work, well there in Idaho?
It's funny. It used to, not so much on the wholesaling side. And there's definitely people that are doing that. That hasn't been my business though. So I would definitely say, that it's absolutely present. And the off-market strategy that we like to use is more of, figuring out what someone's looking for specifically and then going and finding it versus waiting, to have it be listed on the MLS, sort of more in a passive role.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Lawrence Thompson, my good buddy here in Memphis, military veteran, just tremendous brother. says hello, Ron and Stacy. So yeah, definitely hello to you, Lawrence, and make sure you check out Lawrence Thompson. He's got a tremendous platform with the Antidote podcast and several of his books. And so make sure check with me, inbox me, DM me, and I'll get you in touch with Lawrence. You really should. You'll be blessed by doing that. So that's my quick disclaimer for our commercial today with our good buddy Lawrence Thompson. So Stacey, just a little bit ago, you were talking about kind of the lifestyle of bringing people into your business and helping them with this overarching type plan, which is a little unique. And I know for here, being in Tennessee, we don't see at least I haven't seen a whole lot of that. A lot of times, and it may vary from individual to individual, but a lot of times it's just everything's solely focused on paying the broker and making sure you're paying your fees to the National Association, and so there's all this management piece, but not really this kind of family type lifestyle. Everything tends to center around the business. Where did that come from for you? For someone that started so young in the business and has kind of blossomed and progressed, did you always have that mindset when you started that you wanted to have this, overarching kind of encompassing, type of structure within your business?
Absolutely not, actually. It's funny. I started and I was super, super focused on that achievement, and
Yeah.
making things happen and all of that. And I actually I think I was about 25, 26. And our team had just, 5x'd our production in less than 18 months. And I
Wow.
remember sitting in the office about to go into one of our team meetings, and I felt like I was going to cry. And it wasn't in a good way. It was
Whoa.
more of like, I've achieved all of this and I feel completely unfulfilled and almost like an emptiness, And so I
Oh
started
no.
down the path of like, what is this about? Like, from a psychological standpoint, from an everything kind of standpoint. And
Yeah.
what I found is that it's very common, for people that experience a great deal of success to fall out of balance, and I don't necessarily believe in balance. I believe more in intentionality, of, blocking your life out, time blocking, appropriately. But
Sure.
but more than anything, everything that I'm doing now is, compilation of what helped me, really go from succeeding and not enjoying it to, succeeding and enjoying it, and,
Yeah.
also making that impact that we all want to make at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's tremendous, Stacy. And it kind of leads me to the inside out success method that you've created and kind of curated. Can you explain to us what the inside out success method is? Kind of, what its methodology is, and kind of how it can apply to all of us that are in business, whether we're in real estate business or not.
Mhm.
Right? Um, yeah, explain that to us.
Yeah, so the methodology comes from, what I had just explained, of being in a place where, you're succeeding externally, but internally you're still feeling like there's a void of some sort. And so
Yeah.
the inside out success method is based on 4 pillars. And
Okay.
those 4 pillars are: number 1, awareness;
Okay.
number 2, ownership; number 3, intention; and number 4, realization.
Hmm.
And within these pillars, there are practices and basically strategies that help you, become aware of your truth internally, what's working, what's not working, what blocks you might have. Takes you then into, everything from mindfulness, meditation practices, and just basically strategies to support, yourself in becoming more aware.
Yeah.
And then into, ownership of not only owning who you want to be in the external world, but owning how you've treated yourself, how you
Mm.
need to
Wow.
support yourself, and really building that relationship with yourself, because a lot of us, especially in this society, we have been conditioned to be reliant on the external. We've
Hmm.
made decisions based upon other people versus what we want. I mean, I could go on for hours on all of these examples.
Right.
But the biggest thing is taking ownership with yourself and then with the external world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then intention talks about, walking you through not only setting intentions and clear intentions, but actually educating you on the opportunity to co-create with God, the universe, like whatever, your beliefs are, so that you can go from, this is happening to me
Hmm.
to like, I'm driving this and we're going as fast as or as slow as I want to go.
Yes.
So, that's that intention piece. And then realization is, self realization and
Hmm.
also the steps to really empower yourself to design the life you want to live, by having a spiritual vision, a family vision, a business vision, that whole life vision, so that
Yeah.
you actually have something to base who you're becoming on, instead of it, being really, really strong in one area and then you get down the road 10 years and, your health is gone, so
Yeah.
really bringing that level of intentionality to the process.
And Stacy, that's so critical, and I love those pillars that you gave, awareness, ownership, intention, and realization, because those all sum up to me as this, kind of this internal, this reflection that you have to do and that you constantly have to do within yourself, right? Whether you're in business, you're in the workforce, whatever it is that, like you say, you have this, this acute awareness of who you are and what you want to be, this vision, right? And then the ownership piece becomes so critical, right? And I think that's where people, get hung up on is, you can't whine and bellyache about or point fingers at, all these external factors like we like to do, whether it's, through social media, through, other media channels, things like that. These things tend to start having influence on people. And one of the things that gets shunned sometimes is the personal accountability of taking ownership for what it is that you desire, that you want to be, and then aligning your behavior with what that end goal is, which then leads to the intention, like you spoke of, being intentional about that, which means that you're not allowing yourself to get sidetracked. You have, like I like to call this, tenacious focus on moving forward, and then the realization, right? The realizing that within yourself, and that continuous improvement, right? Because we all can fall victim to different things. We're not perfect. And so I love the organic feel of that. And so is this method something that you teach? So for example, if I come in as a new agent to the Catalyst Group, are you sitting down with me and kind of having, or at least introducing this method to me, coming in kind of new to your team?
Yeah, so it's a different version for the real estate team. So what
Yeah.
I started to do in 2016 after my first trip to India is
Oh, wow.
I realized that, real estate was not all for me, and I really it became clear that working with female leaders and entrepreneurs, CEOs, was something that was very important to share this methodology with.
Yeah.
To really help them reveal themselves and impact at the level that they want. And so I use this methodology primarily in the premier consulting programs that I offer to women leaders, and operate my real estate company as well. And so that's how it's used.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, and I think that goes such a long way to, making people feel comfortable, is that you get them onboarded, but you care about them beyond just their ability to produce, I guess, revenue back to your brokerage.
Right.
And so I think that goes a long way to how you're able to develop and be successful in your business. Definitely, for sure. And so, what do you see next? Obviously, we're in the middle of the pandemic. Are you seeing a lot of impact from the pandemic there, kind of in your market, and if so, in kind of what ways that maybe is the same as the rest of the country, or maybe a little different?
Yeah, at first last year, April, May, we saw a lot of immediate changes to, lending programs, which
Yeah.
wasn't Idaho, obviously,
Yeah.
especially the new construction world. But overall, the real estate market, it has not affected it in a negative way here. I mean, it was actually our best year we've ever had in 14 years. And
Wow.
so, I mean, that's just a testament to what you can create when everyone else is in fear, and the light you can be when other people are in fear, right?
Sure.
It, and so of course there are things that are impacted, from like a lot of people, filing for forbearance because of, job loss and everything. But
Sure.
we haven't seen that effect yet. We will with, more inventory, I expect, but overall, nothing negative in the last year.
Gotcha. No,
Mhm.
that definitely makes sense. With new construction, is there a lot of single family or multifamily, or what are you kind of seeing? I meant to ask that earlier, but just forgot. But yeah, what are you kind of seeing mostly in the new construction?
Yeah, so it's single family, mostly. Now we have a lot of multifamily apartment buildings being built because we don't have a lot of like, huge apartment complexes like bigger cities have. So we're definitely
Yeah,
seeing a lot of that as well.
really. Wow.
Mhm.
Eh, Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Are those things doing pretty well in terms of, are those developers able to then kind of, synthesize that data information, go through the construction process? I know you mentioned, challenges with getting materials and things like that earlier. So they able to complete those, projects and ultimately, attract, tenants and things like that, or is that some of what's being impacted as well?
No, they're absolutely finishing them and selling them, and especially in the single family market, which is our
Yeah.
focus. It's really, I mean, crazy. We have such little supply that, homes that aren't even built are sold well before, a lot of pre-solds are being sold just because that inventory isn't there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
So Stacy, what's next for you and for your team? Obviously you're going well. It's hard to predict, obviously, through the pandemic as to how things are really going to kind of shape out. But coming off a tremendous year, what's next for you through 2021 and then beyond?
Yeah, so we are growing our team for sure, looking to add the right people and agents to the team. We have implemented several new strategies with out of state agents to
Okay.
build referral partnerships, networks, rather, with out of state agents. It's really important to me that we create relationships with out of state agents so that they're not going, into referring clients blindly. That's what happens a lot of times.
Yeah.
Either a client finds someone randomly, or the agent goes online and searches, maybe interviews a few people, and that's it. So we're creating the Trusted Real Estate Network, which is just something that can be a reputable group of people all over really the globe, that
Yeah.
if anyone needs each other, it can just be connected that way.
Yeah.
Um, and then just really establishing the focused lead generation, almost specialties, if you will, for
Sure.
each person on the team, so that we have that high level of focus, like you said, that tenacious focus. I love that,
Yeah.
in each department. So that's what's next for the real estate team, and I will continue to lead them and mentor all of the team members on that more whole life success, approach. And then, like I said, I started my consulting business,
Yeah.
and I'm working with female CEOs in a group coaching program, and then
Awesome.
one to one. So
Yeah.
that's next.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I imagine you're going to invest a little bit more time into the consulting kind of piece and, helping, those leaders, which, I could tell based on kind of your temperament and then the approach that you take with your business that, that's going to be highly successful and highly needed. Thinking of how leaders are kind of approaching things nowadays and, quite frankly, having that, a little bit more holistic approach, right? And a little bit more, like you talked about in one of your pillars, that awareness. And having that at the leadership level, I believe that obviously you're helping a lot of people with that, and will continue to do so, Stacy, for sure.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
excellent. Well, thank you for this. This has been tremendous. It's great to get to know you and this business. Um, I mean, how can people connect with you? I mean, I think that, with some of the comments that I'm seeing on some of the social media, I think some people are kind of, looking and connecting with you, but I want to make sure that they can do that, and it'll be in the show notes. Yeah. So how can people do that, Stacy?
Yes. So the easiest is limitlesswithstacyb.com, which is my website. All
Yeah.
of my social links and everything is there. And then again, that's limitlesswithstacyb, like boy.com. And Stacy, by the way, is spelled Stacy, no E.
Yeah.
That's the easiest.
Yep, excellent. Limitlesswithstacyb.com. Make sure NYB community, you reach out to Stacy and her team there, and let her know that you heard her right here on the Minding Your Business podcast. You do other podcasts as well, Stacy. You've been a guest on many others.
Yeah.
So, everybody go out and check out the other interviews on other podcasts that Stacy has been a part of, and leave a positive written review. And let her know that you were kind of checking her out there, and that if she's been able to make a difference in something with you, let her know that, her and her team. I'm sure she would greatly appreciate that. And so, Stacy, thank you so much. I know it's busy. There's a lot going on. We're in the first of the year, so you're tremendous to take time out to speak and kind of help us all here with the Minding Your Business community.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. And again, happy birthday Eve. It's a big one.
You know what? It is. And with everything going on, originally, my wife and I had a trip planned, and we were going to do some things this year. And unfortunately, we're not able to do some of the things that we wanted to do. But nonetheless, we'll be able to celebrate. And it's always a fortunate to make another trip around the sun, around the axis. And now I'll see what the 40s are like.
Absolutely. Yes.
So Stacy Bahrenfuss is our guest today. She's the founder of the Catalyst Group, and I'm sure you heard some great jewels, some great nuggets, from her, and definitely around the Inside Out success method. If you want to learn more, again, connect with Stacy, limitlesswithstacyb.com. Make sure you do that. Connect with her on social media. But again, Stacy, thank you so much. Best wishes to you and your family. I love to remain connected as an investor here in Tennessee. And I'm actually working on my license. I haven't been licensed. I've been in real estate since 2007, but I haven't been licensed. I've mostly done, buy and hold myself. So
Okay.
being a BRRR guy, Burr guy, and then doing, some wholesaling, but I'm looking to become licensed. So I'd love to be able to connect with you and kind of be a resource from here in Tennessee.
Yes, I would love that. Let's definitely do that.
All right. Sounds good. Stacy Bahrenfuss, again, Minding Your Business community. Thank her so much. Listen, don't forget about me, champronbrooks.com. Let's connect. Coming up soon, I will be having, and I'm going to announce this, but I'll let you guys know kind of first up. I'm going to be doing with my friends over at PropStream. So at propstream.com, PropStream being one of the leading, kind of data sources for people in the real estate business. I'm going to go through a complete presentation. I'm going to have actually one of my buddies that's over with PropStream, Burton, who's an extreme expert of the software, by the way. He's going to go through a presentation. So you don't want to miss that. So like I said earlier, you could text me 312-847-4071 and make sure you don't miss that invite. It'll be a free kind of presentation training on using PropStream. That's a great tool for your business. Okay, so make sure that you reach out to me on that. Remember, there's three things that unite us. Okay, three things that unite us, no matter where we're from, no matter what side of the tracks that you come from. We all want to be a little bit better for ourselves, a little bit better for our families, and a little bit better for our communities. And if you keep that in mind with everybody that you come across, so everybody that you come across, remember, that's their same goal. We may have different routes that we want to use to get there, but we all have that same goal. So if you keep that in mind, we can all make this place a little bit better together when we keep that in mind. So it's not about what side of the aisle you're on politically or any of that type of stuff, guys. It's about again, we all have that commonality, and we have way more in common than we have differences. So as we go through things and you're hearing everything on the news and there's a lot of noise, just remember that we all have those things in common. A little better for ourselves, a little better for our families, a little better for our communities. Champ Ron, the Minding Your Business podcast.
Se siente bien saber que cuando le pones sirope a tu Big Breakfast with the Hotcakes de McDonald's, tú controlas dónde cae. Primero se acerca a tu biscuit y rodea la salchicha, luego llega a tus hash browns y finalmente a tus huevos revueltos, dándoles ese sabor dulce del maple. Ordena por anticipado en el app de McDonald's y que fluya el sirope. Para pa pa pa. Móvil Order and Pay en McDonald's participantes requiere la descarga y registro. Se siente bien saber que cuando le pones sirope a tu Big Breakfast with the Hotcakes de McDonald's, tú controlas dónde cae. Primero se acerca a tu biscuit y rodea la salchicha, luego llega a tus hash browns y finalmente a tus huevos revueltos, dándoles ese sabor dulce del maple. Ordena por anticipado en el app de McDonald's y que fluya el sirope. Para pa pa pa. Móvil Order and Pay en McDonald's participantes requiere la descarga y registro.